Start streaming. Are you sure? Absolutely. Abso-flippin'-lutely. Let's start this stream, shall we? Early in the morning. Stream. What do we got? Where where is the sun getting ready to set? All right, let's do that thing that we like to do. Um, we'll put the treasure map on hold for now. Make us an iron pick. So let's start wearing these out bit by bit. Let's make us an iron Chevelle and an iron Axie Waxy. Alright. Seems like a good place to start. So we're gonna go 3 deep. And would you look at that? Isn't that nice? That's very nice. Oh, nice. So it's Friday. Or as they say in the business, Fry-yay. Like a Yakers. It's a Friday. I'm gonna get my Friday on. So we're just gonna do Friday things. Oh no, that's why we got this one. Oops, wrong one. Let's put you back. Ooh, I like digging through dirt. It's so quick. And there she goes. Do you ever like exist in your normal life and just think to yourself? Not even, I guess just think to yourself. I've never thought out loud. Maybe I've said it out loud a couple times, but I don't know who I would say it to. But you just think to yourself, I wish I was more charming. I wish I was more. I don't know. I guess charming is the word. Out in life, not just in my mind. You know? In real life, I wish I could be What's a good template for what charming is? Like the fantastic Mr. Fox. Or even George Clooney. You know, when you think of charming, you think of like, oh, I think of George Clooney. The kind of personality. That suave, Dapper Dan type thing. And I think I wish I could be like that in my daily interactions and not have it be this character or a facade, you know, like an act. I just wish that's who I was. That would be cool. Because, like, in my daily life, I kind of picture myself more of like Wayne Campbell from like Wayne's World. Like that kind of. Kind of just like an outsider who's like, cool. All right, what's going on here? What do we got going? So, like, before I was a janitor, when we had our own janitor business, and I had to meet people and talk with people, and I feel like I was faking a lot. Like, I had to pretend that I was this operations manager, like a boss. And it just never really fit, you know, it never really. I felt like I was faking it, you know, like, oh, well, like I'm gonna put on my boss pants because I gotta go sign some contracts. So I'm gonna go, pretend like I know what I'm doing. And I mean, a lot of it does have to do with confidence. Just how confident are you, not so much with what you're doing, like with your job, but how confident are you in your own skin? How confident are you with who you are? And I think that's one of the big problems I've had my whole life is just not really knowing who I am. And it kind of makes sense when you think about borderline personality. The way the way that most people sell it is it's you're constantly on the border. Um, they talk about anger especially, but it's mostly emotion. You're on the borderline of emotion, of having an emotional freak out. That's what borderline personality disorder is. You're on the border. And I think of like that Madonna song, Borderline. I think that's actually what it's called. Where it's just like, keep on pushing my love over the borderline, borderline. Something like that, you know? But I think it's the more I think about it, the more I think it's more of in the description itself, borderline personality disorder, where you're on the border of so many different personalities because you're a different person with everyone you meet. Excuse me. So at the end of the day, you really don't know who you are. And that's where I think the frustration comes from and the anger comes from, because you're trying to reconcile all these personalities, and unless you start to identify with one, like you choose one and then you just be like, well, that's who I am. And that's kind of what happened with me. Is with my parents, I was a different person. With my wife, I was a different person. With my kids, I was a different person. With my friends, I was a different person. At work, I was a different person. And so it became like an identity crisis, a crisis of who am I really? And I don't know, in a weird way, it was not so much like, okay, who am I really? Because I don't think anybody knows fully who they really are until you make a decision, or until you really, really find yourself. And that's sometimes you got to experiment with things like I wish I was more charming. Well, why don't I experience or experiment being more charming and see how it fits? Because if it's who I am, then it should come naturally. Do you know what I mean? If it's who I am, then words will kind of just flow off the tongue, and I'll be able to interact with people like a hot butter through smooth, creamy butter. A hot butter through smooth. See, that's pretending. A hot knife. A hot knife through smooth and creamy butter. That could be my personality, but I haven't tried it yet. Because part of me is scared. But I find like the me that I like the most, that I'm so comfortable with, is who I am when I'm with my wife. And I started to realize that that's that's who I am when I'm vulnerable, when I let my guard down, when I relax and I'm just in the moment. And I started realizing like this is probably who I really am, because I don't feel like I'm pretending when I'm with my wife. I don't feel like I'm putting on an act when I'm with my wife. I can be emotionally honest with her. And sometimes it's not good, because in her words, I'm kind of a big baby sometimes. I tend to be a big like a big baby, I guess is just the best way to put it. But it's I get hangry, I'm gonna blame the food. Sometimes I get hungry and I don't eat right, and um, you really don't know how much your stomach guides your decision making, and your stomach plays a huge role in your personality. So well fed, not even well fed, but just satisfied, can really make a difference with who you are. But yeah, I really, really like who I am. And then I started noticing this more and more. And that's how I started reconciling my personality and really knowing who I was I started paying more attention to who I was when I was with my wife. And I was like, I want to be this everywhere. Like this, I want to be this free. And when I'm with her, like words do come easy. I do feel charming. I do feel like a George Clooney. So if I could be a George Clooney with Brad Pitt body, man, my life would be perfect. And so I'm getting ready for work, and I got some time to kill because I don't have to be at the place I gotta be. Hey Jeff, what is up? Good morning or good evening to you. I think it's evening, right? Getting ready to go to bed, are you? Where you're at? We're just over here waxing philosophical until it's time to go to work. And we are once again mining and crafting, mining and crafting. I started a new world. Should be ending in about 10 minutes. Just wanted to get on and do a quick little 30-minute stream. Just to pass the time, and I don't think I'm going to be able to stream later on today, so I wanted to do it now before it's too late. You got to strike while the iron's hot, as they say. Oh yeah, and it is probably almost bedtime. Would you look at that? We have diamond. Dig some more until we reach, oh my goodness, until we reach the core. Diamonds, baby, that is what we're looking for. Damn, yeah. It's like it's going to be a good morning. Oh, so that's a good time to go to bed. I like to be in bed at around 8 and be asleep by 10. It'll take 2 hours to wind down. But I usually start my day early. I was awake at 3 today. And I got out of bed at 4. And started making a little bit of coffee for the day. Took the dogs out. And took my cold shower. I started this map just yesterday evening. Oh yeah, so that's right. I started this so that I wanted to see the new Pale Garden update. So I started a new world just for that. And there goes pick. Man, speaking of waxing poetic, I have not checked in on Johnny Pop in a while. Yeah, it's the latest update. They just released it, I think either this week or last week, I can't remember. But it's supposed to be spooky. I think they should have released it during Halloween. But it's their baby. They can do what they want. Just play. It's their world. I just play in it. Oh, it's nighttime right now. I think it's might be daytime at this point. Oh, because that's for Minecraft days. I think Minecraft days are like 30 minutes long. Or maybe 15 minutes. I really never checked on that. But yeah, they're going by the Minecraft clock. Let's just clear out all of this. Usually you can find some cool stuff. Wouldn't that be cool to find an underground city? An ancient city. And we found nothing. That's the way she goes sometimes. Probably because I usually, well, I don't usually, I just stream kind of, my streaming schedule is helter skelter. It's not really, sometimes I stream in the morning, sometimes I stream at night, sometimes in the evening, sometimes in the middle of the day. I kind of just stream when I can. So sometimes you might be able to watch it and sometimes not. I used to have a regular time. I would stream at like, I think it was like 6 every morning. And then I got a job where I had to wake up earlier, where I had to be at work earlier, so I couldn't stream in the morning anymore. So then I started streaming in the evening. And I noticed that I got a lot more viewers when I streamed in the evening. So I started doing that. But now I can't stream in the evening as much as I used to. So I just had to stream kind of what happened here. Oh, whenever I can now. We are all doing well. We are doing our best, let's put it that way. And it's the best is pretty good. Things are always getting better. Whoa. This is a nice surprise. Whoa. Hello. What is my job? Okay, so this is the do I wanna talk about my job online? That's the question. Yeah, I'm hoping there's more. Like, I'm hoping we hit a nice big vein of ore, like we did in my other world, where it was just iron absolutely every which way. But I don't think it's going to, because I don't want to be one of those people that talks about, like, when you start talking about work, it's like when you're out in public and the first thing you talk about with anybody is, so, Mr. Smith, what do you do for business? And then you start talking like, oh, you buy and you sell real estate, or oh, you are a purveyor of savory sweets, I see. Oh, well, let me tell you a little bit about what I do, and we can see what we have in common. It's kind of boring talking about work. So I try to stay even when I'm out in public, and like let's say if I go to church and you start meeting people for the first time and they're like, "Oh, so I don't want to be one of those guys who's like that what I was just doing. So what do you do for work?" I want to be like, "So what do you do for fun?" Or what are your hobbies? That's what I ask people. And it throws them off because it throws me off too when people ask me when I first started working at the job I'm at now. One of the one of my managers was like, "Oh, so what are your hobbies?" And I was like, "Whoa, nobody really asks that question." And it was interesting, and I really took an interest in the manager because he's a real astute character. He likes to ask a lot of questions, and he shows a lot of interest in the people he's talking with, and I admire that. And so he was asking me, "So what are your hobbies?" And I was like, cool. Well, I like to stream Minecraft." And I had a podcast that I hosted where I would talk to other artists and we would just go over their art and talk about their life and how they got into art and how their art does this and that and whatnot. And so that's the kind of thing I like to, when I'm talking with people. It's not what you do for work, because who loves their job? There is hardly anybody you will meet out in public who really loves their job. But the other problem is the longer you do a job, the more that becomes your identity. You start to think, "Oh, I'm a sales rep." And then you start to believe, "Oh, I'm a sales rep." And then you start to live your life like you're a sales rep. And then you're like, "Well, this is who I am. I'm a sales rep and I dress like this and I like to golf." And it's like, no, that's not who you are. That's just what you do. You're a sales rep for a company, but who are you when you're not a sales rep for a company? And then you're like, oh, I don't know. I got to think about it. I've never been asked this question before. I don't even know who I am outside of my company. And that's the scary thing, is that that becomes your identity. The sales rep for this company. So I like to get into the who are you really? And the way you find out who a person is really is, what do you do for fun? When you're not working, what are you doing? And that will tell you a lot about a person when they're like, oh, well, you see, I like to collect bugs and I like to, stuff like that. What was I doing? Oh, yeah. Making a chest. I like to get to know the real people rather than the work people. Because, man, I am not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Work sucks. It sucks that we have to work, that people have to work. It sucks. It's no good. It's not good for... See, there you go. I'm talking about working. You sly devil. Got me talking about... I wasn't even talking about my job, but here I am talking about work. Anyway, I gotta wrap everything up because I gotta get to work. So I'm trying to make it a short day. I'd like to start early because that means I can finish early. So Jeff, thanks for hanging out. Hope you have a good night and sleep well. And I hope you wake up feeling very refreshed and ready to take on the day. Because your future is bright. And of course, to everybody else watching, thank you so much for sticking around. Hopefully, we'll make it a lot more exciting. We're going to go out looking for the Pale Garden soon. Might be over there in the clouds, in the haze. But we'll see. And, oh, look at that. We have a visitor. I need to get a bow and arrow. What is that thing? There's something else back there. What is that? Well, anyway, you already know. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Oh, and that viewer in the back. Thanks so much for watching and supporting me always.